So hi everyone, thank you again for tuning in into Doers Within Us. Today's episode, we have an incredible, amazing guest with us. His name is Bright Chinyundu. He's the CEO and founder of Sparco. And I'm really excited to have him here because I met him in while we're at the Harvard Business School Africa Business Conference. I think 2020, right before the pandemic, and we had a great time. And I actually just met him once. He got into Harembians, which is a very exclusive African entrepreneurial platform, just highlighting and also a network of highly competent but also transformative entrepreneurs on the African continent. And he just became part of that ecosystem. So kind of met him at a very pivotal time of his career. I'm assuming he has had some very other transformative experiences as well, but he's just a great guy. I follow some of your work on social media and I see some of the work you're doing. So thank you so much for being here. And I think there's so much we can learn from you. So welcome to the pod.
Thanks a lot, Jacob. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So Bright, just to start, I think I would love to, and I think the listeners would also love to hear a little bit about yourself. So can you just share with us, what it's like growing up, and how you came to be who you are, kind of the early phases of your life.
Okay. That's a very very long story, but I'll try by all means to summarize it. So I grew up in Zambia. I was born in a small town in Zambia, and then and then we moved to the city, like the big city, the capital city, later on in my life. But my history, part of my early education, actually did it in one of the provincial. So we've got so Lusaka in Zambia is the capital. So that's like the capital province. That's where the capital city is. But my early education was done in Western Province, the western side of Zambia, in a town called Mongu. So I was mostly government educated. Not mostly. I think all my life I've gone to government schools. So so I went up to 7th grade in that town, and then what they used to do, or what the government does, is they pick the kids with the best results, then they send them to 2 schools. There's one national school in the capital city in Lusaka, which is called David Kaunda, and then there's another school which is in the capital, the tourist capital, called Livingston, where the Victoria Falls is. There's a school there called Hillcrest. So they pick like the best pupils, then they send them to these schools. So I was one of the pupils that was sent to Livingston at Hillcrest. So
of course,
after that, exactly. So after that, I got a scholarship. The government sent me to Russia to start software engineering. So I spent about 5 years in Russia. And that was no war when I was in Russia, so everything was calm then. Then after 5 years in Russia, I came back to Zambia and got a job with a Chinese company, Huawei. So I was their engineer, and then I got poached by MTN. I worked a little bit for MTN, then I went to Airtel, and then I resigned from Airtel, set up my first venture, Broadpay. That was in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so this was a bill payment system in Zambia. We then expanded a little bit to Mozambique. And after that, I think that's when you and I met.
Sounds impressive. I didn't know you studied in Russia. That's quite a story for another time.
Story for another time.
Thanks for sharing that. So just going off of that, so once you started Broadpay, like what was the, I know now you run Sparco, but can you just give us like the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey? What was how was it like, what was your thought process and what really made you to start a company?
Okay, so for me, because right now everybody's talking about startups, everybody's talking about tech startups, VCs. At that time, that wasn't the talk of the day. So being a startup founder was not a thing.
What year was this? I think
Exactly. That was so I set up Broadpay in 2012, but then in my country at that time, um, it was all I was doing. I didn't have a platform where I could learn about startups, for instance. All I was doing was I want to start a company. Okay. So it's like I want to start a company. And the first thing I did was before even registering the company, was come up with a team of about 16 people. Like yeah, 16 people from my former employers. I went to different departments, like guys I knew in different departments in marketing. Dude, you do marketing, right? Okay, so I'm starting a company. Do you think you can run marketing? And then when I look at it now, these were like first entry level guys in in marketing, in accounting. They're also just under training. And I'm asking them to run departments in the company that I'm about to create. And they thought I was crazy. Yeah, I remember I set up a meeting. I went to a hotel and I asked them to give us a section where we're going to have a meeting because I didn't have money to even pay for anything there. But then I talked to the manager and he said, yeah, sure, you guys can have it here because we're trying to meet a guy we thought we could partner with. Then it wasn't even about raising because I'm a tech guy. I didn't know anything about raising. All I knew was I need a partner. That partner will put in money.
Mm-hmm.
So we got an older guy. He was a businessman, like a well-known businessman. Called him to the hotel, and we told him we set up this company, And they asked, "Where are you guys? Where are your offices?" And we told him we're here at the hotel because those offices are under renovations. It was crazy. And out of the 16 people, I went back and forth trying to get money from different people, but everybody left me by the time I actually got investment into the company, which was shocking. I was the only one remaining until I met this guy and he just told me, you know what, your ideas are crazy. And right now I'm not investing in this company setup. I'm investing in you because I like your energy. I like how you think.
Yes.
Yeah, so I put in the money. By that time, I had quit my job. My friends had left.
Oh,
they went back to their jobs. Yeah.
How long did this is the funniest story I've heard.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to call in these people at the hotel to when you got you met this guy who invested you? Like, what was the incubation period? How long did you
it took about a year.
Wow. Okay.
That's
not bad. But
but you see, like the first time you're telling people you're setting up this company and they're excited, like, dude, you're crazy. Let's see what you're gonna do. First meeting, you're 16 of you. Everybody's, talking about what they're gonna do for the company. And then second meeting, the numbers reduced. Third meeting, by 10th meeting or whatever, you're just the two of you.
Yeah. That is so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, let me ask a question, if I may.
When we found the investor, by the time we found the investor, it was me and my friend Ernest. And with Ernest, it was just that he's a risk guy. So he's by profession he's an auditor. So he's a risk guy. So even when we got the money, he just told me, he said, "Bright, okay, this is really great, but I can't leave my job right now because I don't know whether this will be sustainable or not." And that's how he left me. He left me after we raised. Yeah. But the good thing is, even though he left, he could still be consulted for free. So I'd still call him even in the middle of the night to help out for free, and he would still do it. Yeah.
Oh, man, this is so funny. So once you got the money raised, how did you now build how do you hire new people? What was the next phase?
Yeah. So now the way the money came in was that first the investor said, you know what, for now, I'm not going to give you cash. I want to see what you can do. So what I want you to do is hire your people.
Yep.
And then I'll be paying them salaries. I'll also be paying you a salary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, until you can prove yourself. So I just need you to hire the key people. Accounting, HR will be done by my company, by my guys. So whatever you need, you tell them they're gonna do it. You hire the people you need right now, like the developers and stuff. So what I did was, with the budget I was given in the beginning, I was only able to hire one person. So, so I hired a developer, and me and him did practically everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the operations, development, everything else. Yeah, that's what we did. And then I think 6 months later, I just told him, you know what, this is not working for me. I need I need my own offices. I need my own people. I need to set up everything. Because then within 6 months, I was getting different exposure. Like I was now on the ground, and I realized it was not as easy as it was on paper.
Exactly.
So with the experience that I was getting, I was now able to go back to him and tell him, this is what I need. And even he could understand that, okay, now he's learning.
Yes.
So that's how he was able to release the money and become independent.
Man, this is quite funny, but it's you went through a hard time. It's a difficult experience. And I think for most of our listeners and just people who are trying to start businesses, Zambia, Uganda, I mean, you know, there's this period where it's just too much, right? And you have to really have this tenacity and just believe in yourself. It seems like that's something that you really held on to. So once you started, no, it sounds like you went back to him. You got the feedback from him. Did he give you the go ahead to get the office?
Yeah, he did, and that's when we released the funds. Yeah. But the thing is, I appreciate how he treated me, because to him, I was just this kid with a dream, and I wanted money from him, and he treated me like I was his own son, trying to get me through different experiences. Because if I had been given money, 100%, I know this, like when the moment I went there, I asked for money and he gave it to me, would have blown it within 6 months. For sure. Yeah, because after learning, I realized that he knew what he was doing, and he's probably been through the same experiences. I would have blown that money within 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
just I mean, for people out there who are trying to start businesses, like, how do you meet this guy? Was it just an acquaintance, or was
it's actually a funny story? Yeah. I went from investor to investor. Guys were trying to dupe me. I remember I went to these guys and made a full presentation, and the guys just later called me and said, you know what, we're sorry, we can't invest in this, but our NDA doesn't really stick, because there are certain clauses that allow us to go into the same venture. So we think we're going to start the same thing. And they told me straight in my face. I'm like, what? And so I was telling my landlord. I started narrating this story to my landlord, and this is what I'm going through. And then my landlord told me, yeah. So I was saying, so after these guys told me that they were gonna go into the same venture and they couldn't invest in my startup, I was talking to my landlord about it. It was funny, because I was telling, can you believe what I'm going through? So he tells me, you know what? You always have brilliant ideas. I've got a brother. Yeah, I've got a brother. You should see him. I think he's going to invest in you. But then my landlord, most of the time, my landlord was always drinking. So when we're having these conversations, most of the time he was drunk. So I never took him seriously. So like 2 months later, I was almost giving up. I'm like, you know what? Let me try what he told me. So I called him, like, your brother's, can you give me your brother's number? Let me try to call him. So I called his brother. His brother told me, okay, you can come and see me. So I go and see his brother at his office. Yeah. And then, so we spent almost 4 hours,
Wow.
Planning, was drilling me questions. He called one of his consultants, he came in, listened to me. Yeah, then he just told me, come and see me tomorrow.
Wow.
I went there the following day, and then he told me, I like the way you think. I'm not going to invest in the idea, but I'm investing in you because I know that even if it fails, you still come up with something.
Something else. Wow, that's
yeah, that's how I found this guy. Yeah, but now, like after that, like I've worked with him closely. He isn't just one of those guys who's gonna give you money and forget about you. He's now like family. You know, his family and I are close. His children, his wife. So we're now like family. He's a great guy.
That's amazing. That's incredible. I mean, I guess the moral of the story is like you should vent. You should tell us your problems to
Exactly.
don't keep it in yourself.
Yeah. I was venting.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Brad Pitt, and I know we'll have to talk about Sparco. Just tell us the transition from Brad Pitt to Sparco, right? And just give
okay. Yeah. So BroadPay is the bill payment system, okay, in Zambia and Mozambique. BroadPay uses hardware. So the first thing we did was we bought self-service machines where people can pay their bills using cash. So these machines are installed in shopping malls and in supermarkets. But then when you looked at the model, scaling was a problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we wanted to put the platform online in Mozambique, in Zambia, and then to scale across the continent. But payments became a problem because now we realized, how do we accept payments from people? In Mozambique, it was even a non-starter. In Zambia, we went to banks to use cards on our platform to accept payments, but it was a big process. You know, one of the biggest banks gave us this, like we had to go back and forth for a whole year. They came to our office, started taking pictures at our office. Yeah, like taking pictures, their due diligence. So, you know, I thought about it and then I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I think this is the space, because if we're going through this, how many more people are going through these problems? We need to build our own payments platform. That's how Sparco was born.
That's incredible. So I mean, so BroadPay was like Square. Were you like trying to get like a point of sale, or what? Can you just clarify how that works?
Yeah, so BroadPay, yeah, exactly. So BroadPay, what we're trying to do is just to build an app where you can buy your airtime, pay for electricity bills, pay TV. But then the question is, how do you pay? Yeah, that's what the problem was.
Got you.
Then Sparco was born.
Awesome. So now Sparco, can you tell us, you know, how the venture is going in terms of just the people that the partnerships you have probably built, and kind of your aspiration post COVID, right? In terms of scalability, but also outreach to different sectors, if I might say, as you're thinking about developing Sparco.
Okay, so Sparco as an idea before incorporated, actually, started at the time. I think when I was building Sparco, I got into the eFounders Fellowship, the Alibaba eFounders Fellowship, where it's a fellowship of African entrepreneurs that were under the mentorship of Alibaba executives, including Jack Ma himself.
Yeah, I saw you on Facebook with Jack Ma.
Jack Ma, yeah, we went to China, you know, to meet with him. Then he came to Africa. We met with him in South Africa. Yeah, he's just always trying to talk to us, you know, giving us insights on how he built Alibaba and stuff. Exactly. So that's when I realized, when I was there, first of all, one thing was made clear: always focus on B2B businesses. They're better than B2C businesses. At least that was made clear at Alibaba. And then apart from that, when I met other guys, I realized to scale across the continent, you need partnerships, with other founders in different countries. So at that time, when I was at Alibaba, I met with GB, who's the current CEO of Flutterwave.
Oh.
And then, and then I was telling him what I'm trying to do, and he says, "Bright, this is what I've already done in Nigeria. What you're building, I've already done it. So how far have you gone?" And I told him I've done integrations with the local payment service providers in the country right now. He says, "Okay, everything else I have. Why don't we partner at this level? Let me expand to Zambia. So when I come, I just plug into what you've done into your integrations, and then where you are. So while you are there, you've got a payments license. So we do that partnership. I don't have to get a payments license. Wherever I've got a license, you can come and we do the same thing. I also help you, because that's what these fellowships are about. That's what these networks are about. Like, that makes a lot of sense. That's how I had him come to Zambia, and they expanded to Zambia. So we had we realized the need, because a lot of small businesses, a lot of startups, tech startups, just started signing up. We did a launch at one of the incubators in the country, and the place was full. There were a lot of people there. But then after we signed up people, there were a lot of problems, because I think they also were going through their own problems. They were focusing so much on the Nigerian market because it was huge for them. This was, they were not paying a lot of attention to, at least to the partnership, because in as much as it was overwhelming for me, but then Nigeria has a big population, that the traction there for them was too big. So we're having all these problems, and I told him, man, let me just finish building Sparco. And then I finished building it, and we incorporated, and so we launched and started competing with them. Exactly. So that's how we started. And then again, I realized that for a payment platform, launching it in Zambia alone, isn't enough, because you have to look at Africa as a market, not Zambia, because Zambia has this population of 18 million people. And so from there, by the time you get to your actually target addressable market, it's quite small.
Got you.
No,
go ahead, please.
So that's how we decided to get into South Africa. And that was another headache in terms of regulation. Exactly. Then, now we're trying to see what we can do in West Africa, in the biggest giant, Nigeria.
Nigeria is a tough market, from what I hear. Just going to the challenges, if you can just name one or two main challenges, just building a company in Africa. I mean, that can sound broad, but like, what are some of this, maybe building the payment platform after you guys launched? Maybe just share a little bit about the South African experience, and what it was like. And
first, for a payment platform, I'm going to tell you one from the perspective of a payment platform and one from just a startup. Got you. So from a payment platform, it's always the regulation, the rules and the laws in these African countries are tough. Some of them are made specifically to just make sure the barrier is so stiff. The barrier to entry in the space is so stiff. In South Africa, for example, you are going there with innovations that threaten the existence of banks, and yet they tell you need a bank to sponsor you. For us, so basically, you are going to the authorities and they say, no, you need to come with the bank, and the bank has to say, yeah, we like what it's doing and we're partnering. How are you going to do that if banks are fighting you? Like in Zambia, when we started, we're being fought by banks. And I remember the time banks were fighting us, we're over a bill payment system. You are fighting us over a bill payment system before we even go into the deep fintech innovation. You get it?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the problem. And that's why a lot of payment systems, like they've tried to get into South Africa, and it's been hard. And some of the African countries are just that way as well. Some of them, you don't even have to get a license. You just need a partnership with a bank, period. Get it? So that's why the problem is. And then generally as a startup, especially tech startup, the biggest issue, at least from my experience, is the talent in Africa. Like the talent to build the platforms we're trying to build, that has been the biggest problem. And then you find that sometimes you get your own guys, you train them, and you don't have the budget to keep them, because after they're trained, they're just poached by the big guys. They've got, they can afford it, so they just poach them. Some of them now, with remote working, they can work anywhere. They just apply for jobs in the US, they apply for jobs in Europe. That's the biggest problem we have.
That's interesting. What do you think is the best way to solve this talent poaching and just talent training?
I think, and what I've been trying to do on my side, the best way I can, is really about communicating the mission, the vision, and the impact that we're trying to create. So I know a lot of people say sometimes money is not a motivator, but it is. But then, but then I try as much as I can to just communicate what impact we're trying to create, and also just involve everyone in decision making and make everyone feel like they're part of what they're trying to build. They're not just there to clock in at 8 p.m. 8 a.m. and leave at 5. Yeah, that what they're doing has actually got an impact. Definitely. So I've even had guys that have left, and they end up calling, they wanna come back. Yeah, exactly. It's exciting. Yeah. We've had. I'm still trying to learn the Nigerian market, because we've had a lot in Nigeria. A lot of guys who, even in the hiring process, you are talking to them, they're excited, and next the guy is telling you, no, I got a job in the UK. Hiring in Nigeria has been hard, especially for developers. Yeah, they're always getting better offers.
Oh, got you. I mean, I think that mission and vision and just story to inspire people might go a long stretch. You know, I want to raise that significant amount of cash to invest in them. Perhaps they can stay. But just a great story. So just now going into kind of the you know, the kind of the aspirational part. What is, how do you know, you've been an entrepreneur, I think, for quite some time. How do you maintain your sanity?
That's a good one. That's a good one, because this can drive you crazy. This can drive you crazy. Yeah. I think, and this is something that a lot ignore. There's a lot of mental health issues among founders, and it's really ignored. So I only came to realize it later in my journey, that, you know, sometimes just take some time off, you know, focus on family, and get back to it. Because in the beginning, I was getting so much pressure. I thought I was gonna go crazy. I was getting pressure from my customers. I was getting pressure from my team. I was getting pressure from the investors, from the board. And for me, it was, you know, I was learning the hard way. There was no one to tell me, you know, you can actually do this. You can actually put structures and tell people like, okay, this is when I'll be reporting. You know, we can be having board meetings where you hear about what you're doing exactly. When I was beginning, I used to have phone calls almost every day. Just how are we doing? How are the sales? I felt I was literally an employee because I was being called every day. How are the sales? Are there any challenges? Is there anything good we've done today? I'm like, these are investors calling me, asking me this. You get it? I was going crazy. I had reached a stage where we could have a conversation, right? You and I would have a conversation during the day. In the evening, I'll be wondering, did I have a conversation with him or that was a dream? Was that today? You get it? Like, this was crazy when I realized I was going through this. Yeah, exactly. So what I do now is like, sometimes I just take some time off, we've got, especially when I'm in Zambia, I love wildlife. So I can take like a day or 2 days. I go fishing with my friends, come back and start again.
Yep.
So sometimes it's okay to actually take a day or two off from all the pressure.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Advice. Actually, you have some very good photogenic pictures on Facebook on your trips.
Yeah.
I don't know who takes those pictures, but I need to find that person.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sharing that. I think there's an entrepreneur in Ghana, Sango Deli.
Okay.
He had a TED talk about mental health. And just like especially African men having mental health, and they don't tell anyone. It's just like they just try to suppress it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he was trying to call. He was making a call for help. He's an entrepreneur investor, based in
Okay.
Ghana. So it's not. It's kind of resonates. It looks like it's something that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, it is.
So, but thanks for sharing that. That was really helpful. Do you read any books that you recommend, or podcasts you listen to, or
so
from yourself?
Yeah. It's weird. Like you driving from. So sometimes I like to drive from Johannesburg to Lusaka, and I take like a day because I have to sleep in Botswana, and then the following day continue driving. And people find it weird because they're like, you drive alone? Because usually they'll think it's a road trip, so I invite other people to join me. But what I do on these trips is I'll just listen to podcasts. There's the Flip Africa. It's a great podcast. It's just talks about like the space, like the guys, what the guys are doing on the continent, and the challenges, and just the history. I like listening to that, and just some books when I have time, because I used to read a lot. I used to read a lot of books. That was a thing, but then now I've got like a pile of books, and every time I start, you just never have the time to just like sit down and finish. That's why, for me, the driving part, really, like when I'm listening, it's better, because even like when I'm in Lusaka, I can drive like for 2 hours to some place and drive back just to do nothing, but I'm just listening to podcasts.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal that, because I think I'm gonna get a lot done podcasting as well. Listen to a lot of podcasts. That's great insight. And so Flip Africa, right? I think that's something. So all our listeners, please check that out. It sounds like a great podcast to kind of listen to.
Yeah, it's actually one. It's actually one of the Harambeans, I think, who's like co-producing. Yeah, so he's like talking to a lot of guys on the continent. Yeah, they've got really good networks.
That's amazing. I definitely have to check that out. Through your journey, and I know there's a lot of great things ahead of you, and you're definitely gonna kind of build some really great companies, and I can tell just based on who you are and kind of your mind. What are some of the advice you have received along the way that has really guided you, or perhaps given you some North Star, if I might say, as you build Sparco and just how you lead as a leader on your team?
Say that again.
So what has been any advice that you've received that has really helped guide you on how you start a business, or how you're building Sparco rather, and also how you are a leader, kind of leading your team on this vision that to take over the Nigerian market?
Yeah. I think what I've learned, the biggest thing that I've learned is your geography should not limit you. So do not localize your ideas. Just because you're born in Zambia, you're raised in Zambia, you have your startup in Zambia, doesn't mean Zambia is a market. Sometimes we even build startups too early for certain markets. Yeah, so always think of where exactly you can fit in. For me at the moment, I'm just looking at Africa, and once we are done, maybe we can look at South America. But for me, I'm always thinking of, okay, where do I fit in at what time? It's not always like in the beginning. I could have just thought, you know what, Nigeria is the biggest market, I'm going to go to Nigeria. But I'm always looking at timing as well. At least that's something I've learned over the years. That's the advice I've gotten over the years.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So what advice will you give to other entrepreneurs, people that's coming into the entrepreneurial landscape?
Okay.
So
hello, can you still get me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so my advice is there's no money, guys. If you are trying to get in to make money, money comes after. I know this is like what everybody says about following your passion, but even when you're trying to raise funding in the space, investors look at you and say, does this guy has a passion for what he's doing? I think that's the first thing. Like what you're doing, because you're gonna get frustrated if you get in and say, "I'm getting in because I want to make money." You be in this space for years and years and years. There are those that we call frustrated founders. You'll be one of them. You just be frustrated, But if you love what you're doing, even if money is not coming, you love what you're doing. You're building your products, and you actually have proper impact on people's lives. That's what matters. Then everything else just comes in. That's how you enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, you'll be starting different startups. You started this one 6 months later. No, now I'm doing this. No, now I'm doing this, because you're just trying to chase quick money.
Yeah, that is very insightful. I think that's something that we all need to learn, as as people are having these valuations and companies are raising a lot of money, but if something they are not really into it, it's really hard to be consistent and stay in it. So
exactly.
As someone like you who has really built building something great, it's great to hear that from you. So thanks so much for sharing. I mean, to close, how do you see your Sparco having an impact, not just as a company, but maybe building developing the continent? What is your vision of Sparco creating an impact on Africa? And you mentioned that you want to scale to Latin America at some point. How do you envision that Sparco to really create this impact in Africa? And how do you see it transforming the continent?
Okay, so what I believe right now is that, especially in the digital space, what's lacking is really the digital infrastructure in Africa. In the West, a guy can wake up, decide to build an e-commerce platform. They plug into different APIs, and they are online the following day. It's not that simple in Africa.
Mm.
So what you're trying to do is actually to build a digital infrastructure for the continent. And when you're talking about digital infrastructure, especially on the commerce side, you need the logistics platform guys, you need the payments guys, you need the e-commerce guys to actually come together and build this infrastructure. And what we are doing now is and whichever market we're getting into, we seek partnerships with different guys who are building different things, because we believe that Africa is big. If you're going to get up and say, I want to develop Africa alone, it's impossible.
Yep.
Yeah, the only way to do it is through partnerships. So what we are doing is building a digital infrastructure. So we are trying to sort out the payment side. And even on the payment side, we're trying to partner with also other payment players in different markets. And we're also looking at what the logistics guys are doing, and then we're plugging into their platforms, what the e-commerce guys are doing, and we're asking them to plug into our payments platform, so that we're just one big giant.
Yes, definitely. And just
that's the impact to create. Yeah,
that's amazing. And just for you as a person, what do you want people to? I know you're a young guy. You just might sound like you're 80 years old, but you have done so much at a very short space in your life. And I know you're gonna do some really great things in the next 10, 20, 30 years. Well, how do you want people to see you as an entrepreneur, but also as an African, as you're thinking of really scaling and developing with this enterprise, and maybe you'll get into other ones? How do you want people to really see when they meet you, or even as they listen to this podcast? What's the takeaway that you want people to get out of it? Like, who is Bright and what is Bright's?
I want them to just look at me as an African who's trying to do something for the continent. I'm an African first before anything else. So even when I say later I want to look at South America, really the reason is I'm looking at places like Brazil and the market size. The reason is, you see, we can't always, I see like companies coming out of the US, out of Europe, and getting into Africa. And as Africans, we sit down and complain and say, these guys are coming, they're building this on our continent. These companies are foreign owned, those are foreign owned. So I've challenged myself. I've told myself, okay, fine. Why can't we be those guys? Why can't someone in Brazil and say, that company, that giant, it's African owned. It's not a local company. That's the narrative I'm trying to create. Like, we can go out there and also just make money, bring it back onto the continent and develop the continent. Yeah. So I'm trying to get out of the box, the African box, and say, we can even come to the US, we can come to Boston, and eat your lunch. Yeah.
Oh man, no, this is truly inspiring. Bright, thank you so much for waking up so early to be a part of this podcast. I genuinely believe that people are gonna listen to this and be inspired by just your story and just how funny you are.
Thanks a lot, Jacob. Thanks really for me.
But yeah, such a great guy. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you continue to build Sparco and just how you're gonna continue to transform the continent. And really, as you said at the end, how do you build something that other people will really value? The quality of it will be high, so much so that if you get into another continent, you'll be like, no, it's good quality. Not necessarily it's an African product, but it's good quality as well that can compete.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you so much, Bright. And I can't wait to see what you're gonna do next and within the space that you're building. But I'd love to have you again as you continue to grow. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Jacob.
Yes. So our listeners, Bright again, Sparco, founder of Sparco and based in Zambia, and we have all the links in the description box. And I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback on this episode as well. So thanks again for listening, and bye for now.